Look at this shit. This poor bastard ain't getting out until the spring. Look at this dirt a week after the snowstorm.
It's been crickets. I've heard 2 plows since I was stuck at home and since the storm. And to me, that says they're not working hard enough and we're paying our taxes.
Residents in the Northeast are sick of the lack of snow cleanup from their states, despite paying some of the highest taxes in the country, not to mention single-party government that gets to do whatever it wants in most of these states. Mounds of snow are now completely covered with dirt and who knows what else, blocking in cars. Driving has become increasingly dangerous, especially in D.C. And now the only thing bigger than snow piles in New York City are the trash piles. Look at that. It will take weeks to clean up. It seems Zoran Mamdani's promise of a socialist utopia is coming faster than expected. It's no wonder blue states faced a mass exodus in 2025. You can see the effects on the map here. In the top 5 states where the most people left, California, New Mexico, Vermont, and Hawaii, those are all blue states. The top 5 states where most Americans moved to were red states, Texas, Idaho, and South Carolina. North Carolina, purple state, obviously one that voted for Donald Trump. With us now, Dean Phillips, former Democratic Minnesota Congressman, 2024 presidential candidate. It's good to see you back. Is it fair to say that things are objectively worse in terms of public service, for example, in many of these Northeast states?
Well, Leland, if we're all being honest, I think most of us are sick and tired of promises made, not kept, and a lack of municipal leaders and state leaders that actually execute their jobs the way they're supposed to, which is provide the services that we all want, especially mayors.
Right.
You know, our country, which is a republic, you know, we're set up with an executive branch with the intention of the executive to implement the laws of the legislative branch. But now we have executives who think they're legislators. We have legislators who think they're executives. And in the meantime, snow is piling up, potholes are terrible, you know, traffic jams are immense, and we're all sick and tired. And again, another failure, if you ask me, of the two-party system, lack of competition, and the lack, frankly, of really the best and brightest executives willing to offer their names for public service as mayors.
Can we say there's correlation and causation? I should say correlation or causation between, say, Zoran Mamdani coming in promising the warmth of collectivism, and 3 or 4 weeks later, there's trash piled taller than I am?
Well, I'd like to give the guy a little bit more time. You know, look, I don't think electing a 33-year-old, inexperienced young politician who hasn't managed a coffee shop, let alone one of the largest cities in the country, makes a lot of sense. But I'd like to give him some time. And you look, sometimes we're surprised by people, but it's sure not a very wonderful start. I'm sure he didn't want a snowstorm like that to begin with. But at the end of the day, you know, people in cities ultimately will judge their mayors by how well they keep the snow plowed in states like mine and New York and how things work. They're not supposed to be legislators,
here, right?
And I really hope voters get that.
Yeah, well, it's a great point, right? Many legislators either want to be executives or they just want to be celebrities, at least on the national level. You zoom out here, okay? You think about New York, you think about California, you think about Minnesota, you think about Illinois, all states that are deep blue. How do Democrats convince America that they are ready to run America when each one of these states, or cities in the case of New York, is such an epic disaster?
Oh, not easily. And Gavin Newsom, perfect example. I don't know how he makes a case to the United States of America that what he's done in California could be a metaphor for what he can do to the United States. And that's just the truth. You know, I grew up in Minnesota, Leland, where we pay higher taxes. We were known as a state that worked, and I think for most of my upbringing, Minnesota did work better. Better education, great civic engagement, great parks, clean water, clean air. But as I've traveled the country, certainly as a member of Congress, and since, I discovered that we're paying a lot more in taxes in Minnesota and not getting the services that we once enjoyed. And that, I think, does have a lot to do with the migration, certainly from northern states to southern states, because in Minnesota, New York, Michigan, Illinois, we're not going to attract people because of our lovely winters. So we have to do something better, and that's why being in a republic matters. States can compete, and I really hope to see Democratic leaders become more innovative, bold, with policy propositions that actually innovate rather than decimate.
Yeah, well, and also the most fortunate are the ones who are allowed to vote with their feet, and then the tax base disappears, and it leaves the rest of the less fortunate behind. Dean Phillips, as always, thank you. Good to see you.
You too, Leland.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.